Hello, I'm William Gallagher. This is 58 Keys, a whole series about how we as writers can get more out of this expensive Apple gear that we've got. Except, in order to get more out of something, you have to get it first. So this is a special episode on how to get Macs, MacBooks, iPhones, iPads cheaper. There are actually 4 ways to get MacBooks and Macs and iPhone, all the Apple gear cheaper. The last one I'm going to tell you, well, it might as well be a secret. It's so obscure. Love that one. But first, this is really important. I am not talking about second-hand gear. That's a whole other topic. We might get into that another time. I don't really know a lot about it, to be honest. And I'm also really specifically not talking about trade-ins. Apple will give you some money for your old computer. I mean, several pence. Actually, not even that sometimes. Sometimes they'll just recycle it for you. Yay. If you need to trade in order to be able to afford to get a new computer, well, you've got to do it. However, if you possibly can, hold on to your old machine, because you never know when things are going to go wrong with the new one, and that's not true. You do know when, you know exactly when it's going to go wrong when you most need it. Keep the old machine around if you possibly can. Now, the 4 ways. The first one, open to everybody, Amazon. Amazon.co.uk, where I am, Amazon.com, Amazon, wherever you are. It always has Apple gear in it. It is always cheaper than buying direct from Apple. Sometimes quite substantially. I think especially so in America. I keep reading about sales that are multiple hundreds of dollars off various items. How can you resist substantial discounts like that? Well, there is a reason to. With Amazon, you get what you get. They will list a particular Mac that has a certain specification. There's the price. Buy it or don't. With Apple, if you go to Apple's websites, you get a thing called a build to order option. This is actually why I don't buy from Apple stores either. I use them for other things, advice and whatever, but I only buy from Apple online because this is the only place, the only time, maybe the only situation, one of these, you can tell I'm a writer, can't you, where Apple can justifiably be called cheap, just not in a good way. When Apple lists a computer, a Mac or an iPhone or anything like that, it will always have a version that has, there's a base model, an entry level, they call it, but it's inadequate. It has insufficient storage for what we need. The RAM, the kind of working memory of it, it is too cramped for it. It's just pretty bad, really. They do that to make a certain price point, and why not? What we have to do is work out what we actually need. Now, I'm going to do a whole episode on buying the best Mac for writers, and another one on the best MacBook, and even a third one on the best iPad about it. Lots of detail in those to come, but it broadly comes down to this. RAM and storage space. When you're buying, wherever you're buying from, get as much RAM in the machine as it can physically take, or is physically available to you, and get the biggest amount of SSD storage that you can afford. Apple kills you on the prices for RAM and SSD, so that may not be much SSD, but the greater amount you can get, the longer these machines will last for you. That's one of the things that mitigates for me against the cost of Apple gear. They last forever. I have a particular friend who regularly refuses to buy Macs because they're too expensive. In the time I had my last iMac, he bought 7 PC laptops. That's what I did to him too. After I think the 6th. Buying from Amazon anyway doesn't give you those options, but it's so much cheaper. It's a good place to look at first. This next one, well, this isn't open to everybody. There's an educational discount. If you're a student or a teacher or you work on the staff in any kind of educational establishment, talk to your HR department, talk to your IT department, and find out what discounts are available. You can also just Google Apple, your country name, and then educational discount to get an idea of what's available. I've tried to get you figures, but it seems to vary so much I'm not sure about it. I know, for example, the MacBook Air in America was offered for $100 off. $100 off, and you got free headphones and all sorts of things like this for being a student and for buying at a particular time. So it varies all the time. If you qualify, if you can qualify, definitely check it out. A similar thing, if you're not a student, there is a system for buying Apple gear at a discount through your company. If your company has got a deal with Apple, which tends to mean it's quite a big company. If you're in a corporation, get on the phone to your HR department. You probably have had an email newsletter about it at some point. There will be something, maybe 10%, maybe 15%. I don't qualify through a company, but I do qualify, well, it is a company. I'm not employed by a corporation. I get that discount through the Writers Guild of Great Britain. I'm deputy chair of the Writers Guild of Great Britain, and through that, I and all members have a certain discount from Apple products. It's a nice discount. It made a big difference to what I could or couldn't buy. That's the Employee Product Program, EPP it's called. I can never hold it in my head, but it's discounts through your company. And let's race through all of those to get back to one that everybody can go for, and it's my favourite. It's my favourite because it's the best value. I'm also so keen to tell you about it because it's close to a secret. You can buy Apple gear from Apple for less. You do it through the Apple refurb store. Apple does not promote this. You can get to it through the online store website, but it's not like they put it up there in the menus next to iPhone and that you have to dig. I can never remember the addresses. Let me find them for you. There you go, the UK and the US one, right there. You're not going to remember them either, are you? Google Apple UK or Apple US refurb store and you'll get to it. It's worth getting to it. This takes a little work to do and to explain, but it's more than worth it because the discounts can be really substantial. The refurb store works like this. Someone buys a brand new Apple product and returns it to Apple. Who knows why? It could be faulty, it could be they didn't like the color. We don't know. We'll never know. And we never need to care because Apple will have refurbished it. It will be exactly as new. Not quite true. If you buy a brand new product from Apple, it comes in a really nice box with a photograph on it. You buy a refurb one, it comes in a really nice box that's just white. I can cope with that difference. I can particularly cope with it because of this. There are times, it varies, but there are times when the thing you can buy in the refurb store is substantially better value than the brand new one, even when the prices don't quite match up. There isn't quite as much a discount as before. Quick example. Apple released a new iPad earlier this year and they dropped a particular old one. They brought in the iPad, they got rid of the iPad Pro. For a brief while, the iPad Pro that they dropped in the refurb store was substantially better value than the brand new iPad. So people just bought that. It means you have to look, you have to think about it, you have to know what you want. Fine, we'll talk about that some more. But there's also this. Because the refurb store works by people buying something and returning it, when Apple has brought out something brand new, forget going to the refurb store. There won't be any there for some weeks, some months. Also, it depends on who returns what, or it depends on how many are returned. You cannot guarantee on any particular day that that MacBook will be there, that particular iPhone configuration will be there. So you have to keep checking. And you might be lucky, you might be out of luck for a long time. But usually what you want comes up in the refurb store reasonably quickly, reasonably often. When you see it, buy it, because it will be gone in a moment. Now, I don't mind any of this because although it's a bit more work to save some money, that's fine. There's also this, it comes down to working out what you want first. Rather than looking at the catalogue and thinking that looks nice, thinking about what you need. I mentioned about RAM and storage. That's critical, and we will cover that in better detail in future episodes. But broadly speaking, you're looking for a particular thing that does a particular thing for you. When you see it in the refurb store, snap it up. That's it for 58 Keys. I'm William Gallagher. Thank you so much for watching this. I really hope that it's been of use to you and you get some gear at a substantial discount. And when you do, well, in fact, even before you do, in readiness for when you do, press that subscribe thing and come back to watch for more. Because we're writers, we talk about writing a lot. See you soon.